Bermuda Broadcasting Company station.
It's now time for Inside Sports Talk Radio with host Ian Rollins and co-host Earl Baisden. Brought to you by the Lindos Group of Companies, Colonial Group International, Global Atlantic Financial Group, Game Time, and Fit for Life with Dave Wolf. Now let's go live with Ian Rollins and Earl Baisden.
And good afternoon and welcome to another edition of Inside Sports Talk Radio on this Monday afternoon. It is July 9th. Wow, July 9th, 2018. I'm Ian Rollins, along with my co-host, Mr. Earl Baisden. Good afternoon to you, sir.
Good afternoon, Mr. Rollins. How you doing?
I'm good, thank you. I'm good. And Sir Bassett, how are you, sir?
Good, thanks. I was good. I was well.
You fell for it.
Yeah.
I take it. I take that.
You take it.
Yeah, I take it.
You take it. All right, fair enough. Fair enough. Guys had a good weekend?
Yeah, man.
Yeah, it's been a good one.
Been a good one.
Yeah.
Good. Just let our listening audience know, yes, we will have guests in studio today. Earl Baisden is leading the way for us. Your first guest star?
I can't remember, man.
Yeah,
I believe
Marshall.
what else? I believe it's no, the first one should be members of the Bermuda Archery Federation.
That's correct.
Later on, we'll have members of the martial arts community who just recently competed in Florida. The archery folks will be having their national championships on Saturday down at Southside, so we want to get them in. They've recently returned from international competition as well, so we'll get an idea of an update on how things are progressing down at Southside for them. So, yeah.
Cool. And then you said you're having martial arts.
Yeah, martial arts. They competed last weekend. Quite a few youngsters, two adults, medaling in various forms. First international competition. So just get a word from them on just the difference on training. Very little competition in Bermuda.
Yeah.
Then you're exposed to.
International.
They had one in the room. There was more than 1,000 competitors. So those are the type of things.
There's more competitors over there than we have in the other.
Yeah.
Bottom line. Yeah.
So.
Okay. Well, also we're going to have the president of the Bermuda Netball Association, Kamal Evans, be joining us in the studio as she announces their team, the under-21 team, as they head off later this month for a tournament overseas. I believe it's in Florida. So she'll be here joining us and sharing her thoughts on the selection of the team and things of that sort. And hopefully they will do the best they can in netball. And of course we have Dave Wolf be joining us today. He'll be discussing the 2018 Night of Champions Bodybuilding and Fitness Federation held their annual, I think it was the 31st, if I'm correct.
I think it was 33rd.
33rd, I'm sorry. On Saturday night, and it was a good event. Kudos to 31st annual. Kudos to Mark Simons, the president, and his vice president and treasurer and public relations. His whole team put on a well thought out event. It started on time, the second year running. Last year they started at 7 o'clock, and again 7 o'clock punctual. They started on time, and credit to them, because as we know in the past, the event has been 20 minutes, 30, 40, up to 45 minutes, even an hour late. And that had been some problems in the past, but going forward, credit to his team and the competitors. I think it was 29 competitors in all. Numbers were somewhat down this year. Actually, it was 25 competitors compared to 37 last year. With the dates being changed, the annual event is usually just after Cup match, but moved forward due to the unforeseen circumstances regarding
Caribbean Championships
from last year. So they had to move that date forward. So 25 competitors came on, 12 new competitors. So that's good, and it's right, and it's right there for itself. And so you can see the sport is definitely growing. I think they've got some new things in the works for 2019 regarding marketing and sales to get the word out there, to get more people involved. And that was the goal. That was the mandate that they were sworn in last year, and they wanted to get new people on board. So hopefully we get to see a lot more of that. I will say there was at least, I think the room held at least 550 people. I think about 420 came through the doors at Southampton Princess. And again, congratulations to all the competitors. Earl Baisden has all the results on his website, alistats.com.
I hope so.
I'm sure he will. Yeah. And again, congratulations to the new beginners, and hopefully we get to see much more. But Dave will be sharing his thoughts and his expertise on that.
From behind the scenes,
behind
he
the
spent a
scenes.
lot of time running back and forth.
Yeah.
I didn't want to say anything to him because he looked so focused on what he was doing. He was coming out, I guess, to get a look at the performances on the stage, and then running back to give whatever advice needed. So he was a busy fellow on Saturday.
Definitely,
Yeah.
definitely. He was doing the same thing last year.
Yeah.
Focused, making sure that it's run smoothly.
Yeah.
And that's what you have to do. You have to block out what you have to take care of the business at hand.
Mhm.
And that's very important. Then it pays off. And people say, hey, I was there. No
Right.
problems. Everything went smoothly.
Right. Right.
It started at 7. At 9:35, the doors
Yeah.
were open to say the show is over.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
boom.
Well, the good thing is, and I have to say this, and maybe others can take heed, there was no intermission. What they needed an intermission for, nobody knows. So carrying through the show, people come to watch the show, watch the show, move on. Yeah.
So you're saying that they shouldn't have an intermission?
No need to.
Really?
There's no need to. I came to watch a show. If I wanted to go out for dinner, if I wanted to go out for drinks, I'll do that. And that's what the intermission, so quote unquote, is for. So them not having it made the show flow a lot easier, a lot better, a lot faster, and a lot smoother.
Yeah, the intermission.
Did it?
Yeah.
What time was that?
You had a 15-minute intermission. You're kidding, right?
I must have been asleep during
No,
that
it's
time.
sleep. Oh, okay, gotcha. All right, gotcha. Okay. It ran so smoothly that the intermission went with all the hits as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. Are you regarding the numbers? If the numbers be down, you don't need intermission. If the numbers are up, you may need an intermission.
Well, not necessarily. I don't see the reason for an intermission, to tell you the truth. There's no need for. What was the intermission for? To allow the judges to turtle up?
No. I don't know. I don't know. I'm sure it has a lot to do with behind the scenes where some competitors were in different categories.
Yes.
And you needed to change and get things ready.
That I understand.
That I think that's a part of it. If it's the tally to see where the judges are, that could be done during the show. I see what you're going there.
Right.
Also, it may be a part where the audience may say, I want to stretch my legs for a few minutes.
They kept getting up and going outside and coming back.
Yeah, they had to run us. I saw one guy, I'm not going to lie, I'm not going to call his name, but I saw him get up like 3 times.
Yeah.
I was like, just get a drink.
I was near the back of the room, and I could constantly go left and right with my hair because people were just up and going out and coming back, going out and coming back. Some with drinks, some could go and use the bathroom. You know, it is what it is.
Oh,
Yeah.
You know, if the numbers are there, say they have 50 competitors next
Then you want to hurry and get the night done with.
or maybe start a half hour earlier and still have an intermission.
I just don't see what the intermission. They do it in for this. They do it for boxing. They do it for a lot of indoor events. And to be honest, I just don't see the need for it. Get the night over and done with. That's what people came for. Get the night over and done with. Yeah. Yeah.
Interesting. Oh, maybe you ought to write into the organization committee.
I think they heard.
They heard?
Yeah, they heard.
We can bring it up with David and see what he says about. And actually, he could probably explain to us why.
Well, I mean, if there is a good enough reason for it, then fine.
Right.
But most of the time, it's to help offset some costs by people going to the bar. That's what the intermission is primarily there for.
Well, I see what you're saying, but they also got to look at people who do want a refreshment.
Again, people were getting up, going outside all the time.
Okay.
And at the end of the night, I'm pretty sure when you got up from your seat and you was heading towards the door, you saw enough glasses at people's cheers.
Yep, and going back to the bar.
Yeah.
No, some of them are just dehydrated.
Oh, that's what it is? Oh, they have been in the gym.
Yeah.
The gym.
It happens.
Yeah, GYMBAR.
Question: What if one of the bar is one of the sponsors?
Yeah, but what you do is you have something before the event starts and after.
Yeah.
In between is almost like, what are you holding the show up for?
Some folks might think the show is finished. Why after? I'm going home now.
9 times out of 10.
Why drink now? And I'm gonna drive. Why?
Comedians?
I'm just saying.
Okay.
I'm just saying.
If I was a sponsor of the show, I would want folks to come out and buy my liquor. If you don't have intermission, why am I sponsoring?
I get your point. I get Earl's point. Earl was saying that during the show, which he's correct, a number of people did visit out, came back and forth with drinks. They did do that.
But
the need for
the
intermission,
ticket
that's what I'm saying.
sale says the ticket sale says you're coming for the night of champions. Doesn't say you're coming to go to the bar for the sponsor. You know, the event is you're coming for the event.
You get that?
Yeah.
You get the event.
Yeah,
And a drink.
Well, yeah. If I wanted a drink, just like at any professional event you go to, if you wanted a hot dog or whatever, if there's no one running, you go get it.
So like
The game doesn't
You
stop.
have a break. You have a lunch break. Folks go hit the corner.
Oh, that's because that's in the,
Right.
that's
They
in
go get a
the,
drink.
yeah. But it don't stop people from drinking at 10:05 after the first bowl.
Wow. I'm saying I think intermission is good. It's good for business.
For
Good
a 2-hour show,
sponsorships,
for a 2-hour show at intermission.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, intermission is only what, 15 minutes long, 20 minutes long.
Yeah, right. This is Bermuda. You know how long these things take.
Well, it was on point. I think it was 15, no longer than I think 17, 18 minutes. So
Mm-hmm.
that's where the length of that intermission was for this year.
Right.
But hey,
It's
it's just a topic of discussion. We could ask Dave why they have it and what's the reason behind it.
Yeah.
And I'm sure we'll.
I mean, I take Don's got a valid point where if I'm a sponsor, I want people to enjoy the
festivities.
the beverage in which is sponsoring the event.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I put up $10,000. I want to make that money back somehow, some way.
Right.
So come on and drink my liquor.
Right.
That's my point.
Yeah.
I put up 10 grand, right, as a
Right,
sponsor.
right.
Mhm.
Why not show me some love?
Right.
So,
Got a point.
Good point.
commercial break.
Yeah,
Intermission.
we'll take an intermission
We'll take an
ourselves.
intermission.
There you go.
We take it
Gotta pay sponsors. Sponsors need that.
Yes, for
Yeah.
They
sure.
want, see what I'm saying? That's
Yeah.
my point. All
Yeah.
right. Good.
But before we go, just want to remind our listening audience that, of course, World Cup resumes tomorrow, the semifinals. One game we played tomorrow on ZFB TV7, getting underway at 3 p.m. The big match, France taking on their neighbors, Belgium. Who do you think will take their match there, Mr. Baston?
I'm gonna the team that scores the most goals.
And which team is that?
Who I was gonna be.
Which team do you think is going to take it, Mr.
What's
Baston?
that?
Not the team that scores the most goals. I'm asking the name of Belgium or France.
One of those two.
Which one do you think? Can you just name the name?
I can. I honestly don't. I have been periodically watching the matches.
Uh-huh.
I wouldn't say I've watched an entire match. And any one of the 4 teams remaining can lift the trophy. They're only 180 minutes away from that.
One of the 4 teams. Well, there's going to be one of the 4 teams that will lift the trophy. That's for sure.
Yeah.
No,
But more than likely, I mean, if you go by rankings and so forth and styles of play and everything, France will go in as the favorites.
Mm.
Yeah.
Just like
But
Brazil.
as we know, favorites haven't always come out on top.
Top. No, they haven't.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so-
Ask Brazil.
Yeah.
Ask Germany.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's there. Okay.
You see,
Fair enough. Fair
Yeah.
enough. Again, that match gets underway tomorrow, 3 p.m., the first of the 2 semifinals. That's on Tuesday, ZFB TV7. And then on Wednesday, Croatia taking on England, 3 p.m. on ZFB TV7. Kind of interesting there is that Jordan Henderson, the captain of Liverpool, we played against his centre half, Dejan Lovren of Croatia. Interesting, huh?
Yeah. One thing's for sure, it'll be a Liverpool man in the final. That's all you have to.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, it'll be a Liverpool representative in the final. Either way you look at it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like how dramatic some media make it. It's been the first semifinal that England's been in since 1990.
Yeah, 1990. Right.
But the reality is, there's only 7 World Cups.
Well, no, you say 7 World Cups, but you have to say it's not because of the FIFA, it's because of the language of it. You say the 22 years or 26 years, whatever.
Yeah, you can't say that because it's every 4 years. If it was every year,
But
and they
then-
didn't make it,
but-
damn fun.
But then that goes with the Olympics, which they say the same thing. They don't say every 4 years. They say, just use an example, say it's 10 years.
Mhm.
They say Olympics, 10 years. They say it in the Winter Olympics. They
But
say
that's what I mean. That's the dramatic way of beefing something up. But if it only happens every 4 years, you just say, okay, they haven't been to the semifinal in 7 years. It's almost like if we'll use an example, and we'll use the Olympic example. If Tyrone Smith didn't make the long jump final in 2 Olympics and then made it, I wouldn't say he hasn't made it in 12 years. He hasn't made it in two Olympics or 3 Olympics.
But you know what? In all honesty, in the sports term, you can say that, but they'll just say how many years. That's what they'll come back and tell you.
Well,
If you look, I'm looking across with track and field to hockey.
but I understand if
whatever.
if it was every year,
Mhm.
then you can say it's been 20 odd years since It's almost like the FA Cup final,
Yeah.
right? Which has held every year.
Mm-hmm.
So you can say, oh, this team hasn't been to the final in 22 years.
Like Liverpool hasn't won the league in 25 years.
Right, because they're in it every year.
Every year. I get
So,
that.
right.
So how they've done it across the universe, not the Western Hemisphere, but the universe, from Egypt to Bermuda to Uruguay,
right.
they say
The amount of
12
years. The amount of years.
They do.
Yeah.
That's
It's a bit unfair. Though.
it's unfair. I understand what you're saying, but they're just using it in that term. Like England hasn't been in since what, 1990. So what's that leads them? 10, 28 years? Just 10,
Seven
18
World
years. 18 years.
Some World Cup.
Yes, he 7 World Cup, and the world says 1990, 2010. I was right, 28 years.
7. 7 was 28.
And they'll come back and say, yeah, 7 World Cups,
7 World Cups.
equal to 28 years, and that's why they come back and say it. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. Now they're saying, can they bring the cup home to England? Take one step at a time. Deal with the semi-final first.
Yeah.
All right, that's what you need to do. So it'll be interesting. But we're going to take our first commercial break, and yes, we will have our sports trivia question today on Inside Sports Talk Radio. We haven't had it in the past due to number of guests in studio, and of course we're talking World Cup football. So we're going to take a commercial break, and actually we may come back with that question.
Inside Sports Talk Radio has been presented to you
come
by
back with it?
Windows Group of Companies, Colonial Group.
You wanna come back with it?
International,
Yeah,
Global
okay.
Atlantic
It's the
Financial
same-
Group, Game
Same
Plus,
question.
and
Don't say it out loud.
No.
We'll return after the
I'll
break.
be right back. Let me just see your thoughts.
Is a smart
80-20.
I'm sorry, it's my fault, not coming back. Oh,
What was the answer? The answer was
and boxing professional ring lover, Troy Dow's name is etched to it, some of the greats of professional boxing. What particular distinction does he hold in boxing legend?
So more of your premium goes towards generous benefits.
Troy Dow, it's the fastest knockout, 14 seconds, at the Madison Square Garden.
We live in an age that prioritizes mindfulness.
you need intermission.
Yeah, you do. People use the bathroom.
Bathroom, they go to smoke, have a couple of hours of smoke.
Yeah, good at everything.
And really delicious.
So basically it's 14 seconds, that's what you're looking for. 14 seconds. Okay. Hello.
Good afternoon.
Have a seat in my specially designed
Three of you?
chair.
I can stand
That's
up.
yours.
Okay,
And
if you get on that chair there, right, there we go.
okay.
Okay.
Who's gonna speak? Okay.
I'm gonna start. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna start with the damn yours.
Then you guys take a seat right there. Yeah. There's headsets for you guys.
In that tray can take one. And, yeah. Or actually, one of you.
Actually, you give. Who's going to speak first out of you two?
Sorry.
Who's going to speak first out of these two?
Move to the chair.
Let Trey speak first, and then we'll let these two
Okay,
speak out.
so
Yeah.
Trey, you sit in this
Trey and
chair.
I would go, and then we can give it over to this too.
Okay.
So we take trivia?
Halftime shows and much more. 2018 FIFA World Cup live from Russia. Is brought to you by Colonial Group International, Butterfield, Linda's Group of Companies, and Bermuda Motors.
Come out. According to you, just come on one. Yeah.
Okay. Yes, that's left coming 10 out.
Huh?
The other left coming at 10 out.
Okay. A 10 past one.
10 out.
Okay.
So after the music.
Right after this, we'll be back.
AccuWeather, the world's weather leader. Forecasters and meteorologists who thrive on the new technology that can help you chart your day. From St. George's to Somerset, sunshine to severe weather, with digital Doppler radar, AccuWeather helps you stay on top of your day. Proudly brought to you by BF&M. AccuWeather only on ZBM TV9, where community comes first.
This AccuWeather report is brought to you by the BF&M Insurance Group.
Now, back to Inside Sports Talk Radio. Inside Sports Talk Radio with Power 95 FM with host Ian Rollins and co-host Earl Baisden. This weekly segment of the Sports Trivia has been brought to you by 4-Star Pizza, A.S. Cooper, and Sun Limited, Port Knox, Bermuda, and Sports Source.
And yes, we have the sports trivia question, as we mentioned before the break, that we didn't have the last couple of Mondays because of World Cup and having numerous guests in the studio. That question, we're going to repeat it again. It's a question that we put out a couple of weeks ago, and it deals with boxing. In boxing, professional ring lore, Troy Darrell's name is etched with some of the greats of professional boxing. What particular distinction does he hold in boxing legend? Yeah, give us a call, 292-9595. You think your friend's going to call you?
Of course. Even if she gets it wrong, just call it.
Just call it.
Even if she gets it wrong,
she's going to call.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll put that question out there again. In boxing, professional ring lore, Troy Darrell's name is etched with some of the greats of professional boxing. What particular distinction does he hold in the boxing legend? Give us a call at 292-9595. Meantime, I'll turn it over to Earl Baston, who'll give us an update on his guest in studio.
Well, Ian, we have in studio with us members of the Bermuda Archery Association, none other than Ross Roberts. Ross has been known for many sports, dealing with hand-eye coordination. Ross, this coming weekend, we'll see the national championships.
National Archery Association's championships. Yeah.
Okay, and that will take place at Southside. Recently, there was a group that traveled abroad. Bring us up to speed on how they made out in different conditions.
Different conditions, yes. We had two groups actually this year that have been out of the island. One in January, we had an indoor shoot in Lancaster, Philadelphia.
Right.
Which saw some of our younger and adult shooters take part in it. That shoot went particularly well for our juniors. We actually had, and we have in studio, those two juniors, Ashley Weeks and Jaden Roberts, one of which actually medaled in their division. So we'll let them speak on that later. But we also had a senior group take part in the Gator Cup at Gainesville, Florida. That was an outdoor shoot which was done at 70 meters, 72 arrow shoot. Basically the Olympic shoot is what that was.
Right.
And we had 4 shooters go off to that, which all scored well in their divisions. We had 2 different divisions that was represented. One was the Masters division, which was over 50.
Right.
And then we had the adult seniors male division as well.
Okay. Well, you have a young man next to you. Introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Bernard Reed, third.
Okay. Bernard, there's always challenges at Southside, and with the national championships coming up, not only with crosswind, sometimes headwind, how do you adjust to certain elements?
Depending on the day. If it's a steady wind, I might just adjust my sight, move that according to whatever it's blowing. If it's gusty, you get to do that on the fly. Aim off according to what's going on and hope for the best.
Now, what got you involved in the sport of archery?
Well, I actually at one point wanted to do rifles, but that's a bit more expensive.
Yes.
But always wanted to do archery. It's a fun sport, very addictive.
Right.
Definitely tests you.
Yeah. Now, which one of the competitions did you go off to?
I went to the Gator Cup.
Gator Cup. How different was it from training and competing in Bermuda?
Weather-wise, it was a lot harder. But it's, as far as difference, it was just more people, a lot more people to get in contact with and bounce information off them.
Right. Now, because there's not many in Bermuda, you get to get a better rhythm. Now, when you're going to international competitions, your wait is a little longer now. Do you find that a little more challenging?
No, actually, I find it a little easier because it gives your body a chance to recover after each end. So I don't tire out quite as fast.
Right. Now, back to you, Ross. The sport has grown tremendously in a short space of time. From the time you guys set up and just was inviting people to come down, and now you have regular events, regular tournaments, and so forth. How how strong is the membership now?
The membership is definitely growing. We're probably at, I would say, members in our low 20s right now. But basically, it is growing. We constantly have new people coming out. We have several new people that have come out and got, as Trey said, addicted and have invested in equipment and stuff already. So we've got, potential shooters, almost every week.
And the age varies, doesn't it? Because you have...
We have quite a variance in the ages. Our youngest archer that we have there is actually 5 years old.
Right.
And she's comfortably shooting 10 meters now, which is her normal competition distance. Actually, that group is under 11, so that shows you where she fits with that group. We've got a few other young shooters as well. But our junior division is definitely growing. That's the good thing. That's one of the ones that we want to keep behind and keep pushing and developing.
Right.
Yeah.
You have a young lady sitting next to you. Welcome.
Thank you.
You want to introduce yourself?
My name is Ashley Weeks.
Ashley. No, you've competed overseas. Nerve-wracking?
The first time I went, yes, because there was a lot more people than I'm used to, and I was younger at the time, so it was like being put between two 6 foot tall guys, and I'm sitting there in the middle like.
But you look comfortable down at Southside. You really look comfortable. You're in your element. Do you tend to work on blocking other things out?
That's something that I do work on, especially being next to the airport. You have the planes coming in and out, and then you have people that see Ross or anybody else shooting and they're tooting and honking.
But those type of things where you get to focus even more helps you out?
A lot. I've actually become better at blocking these things out, so I keep my focus very what do I want to say?
Targeted.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Why did you pick this particular sport?
I picked this sport because when I was younger, I did Girl Guides, and we actually had somebody come down and they showed us how to shoot, and then we played archery tag, and I was like, I really like this sport and I want to keep doing it. And for weeks upon weeks, I was asking my father, where do they do archery? Can you take me to archery? And I did all kinds of research. And then I found Ross, and my dad goes, oh, I actually know him. I was like, so what were you waiting for?
Putting the old man on the spot, huh?
That's something for you.
What are you waiting for?
But if you obviously speaking to your peers, if you can encourage people, somebody out there listening to you, to get involved in the sport, what would be your reasoning for them to come down to Southside?
Well, the main reason is that it is really fun to do. It's a great sport. It helps you with your focus, and it's just overall a really good sport. And it's not as, I want to say, like if you're playing football takes a lot to learn, and it's so archery is more mental. It is physical as well, but yeah.
Ross, back to you. This coming weekend is the championship, so what time does it start, and what could, if people want to come by and have a look to see what it's about, give us some details.
Okay, it'll be starting at 9 o'clock. We'll have the junior divisions in at 9 o'clock. We're going to shoot them. That will be our first groups that we'll shoot. Once they're finished, we'll actually do a junior presentation, and then after that we'll have a brief break, and then we'll get into the senior shooting. We're expected, depending on numbers, we're expecting the junior shooting to be finished before noonday. We'll have a break, I guess, about lunchtime, and then the seniors will come in and start with their shooting.
Much anticipated about the juniors will do their part, but it's a lot anticipaation if the senior group, because there's always a battle, as we know. any one of what, 5?
That's right, and that title has changed a bit recently. So I think this is gonna put them all on the spot, and there's gonna be a bit of pressure on those guys shooting, because it's changed a bit lately. which is a good thing.
Yes.
And I think everybody's waiting to see what happens at the end of that.
Be a lot of nerve.
Yeah.
How many rounds do they go?
Basically, for this shoot, it's a 360 shoot, so there'd be basically 6 ends of 6 arrows, which would be 36 arrows for a total score of 360.
Okay.
Hence our National Archery Association of Bermuda's 360 outdoor event. That's basically where that 360 comes from.
Cool.
Yeah.
Now you're joined by another young man. I think you know him rather well.
Yeah, yep. He's also one of our juniors that we're putting some emphasis behind to to get him to that next level.
Right.
And he's obviously had some exposure overseas, and we're looking forward to getting these juniors out there overseas and locally competing. And they've done well. I mean, Ashley didn't mention it when she was here. She's a bit bashful, but she was the one that medaled at the Lancaster Classic.
Right.
And she's our first local to medal there.
Wow.
So yeah.
And congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, it was those 2 6-foot guys that
that may have pushed her on. Yeah.
She had to shoot between.
Yeah. Jaden was there shooting with her as well, and he finished 4th in his group, which is really good for what we're up against out there.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, let people know who you are.
My name is Jaden Roberts.
Jaden, you've been around the sport for quite some time, since your dad's been involved in it. You have your own bow, I would say. Is it bow? Is it a bow? Yeah. I've watched you perform. What would you consider your strengths for this sport?
Like mental strength, pretty much. Just trying to keep focus and not just do anything. Just trying to have one focus, and that's to concentrate on what I'm doing.
Now, I've seen you before you go up. I've seen you sitting in a chair, kind of like meditating. Is that something you've been taught, or is that something that you just do on your own?
I just do it on my own.
Are you clearing your mind, or are you trying to figure out what to do?
Just trying to figure out what I'm doing.
Yeah. Now, being a young competitor and using the elements, how well do you feel you adjust to the different scenarios when it comes to especially high winds, low winds, heat?
Well, when it's high winds, I'm going to try to aim off to try and get the arrow to move over to the middle of the target, trying to get a nice high score. And when it's hot, I would try to work short class.
Now, that question there, Ross, competitors adjusting to conditions. At what point do you say that you can't shoot, wind conditions wise?
Wind condition wise, usually anything 25, depending on the direction of the wind as well. If it's a strong crosswind, 20 to 25 knots could stop it. We would automatically stop thunder.
Right.
Rain, we keep shooting, but any thunder, lightning, that would automatically stop it. So I would say 25 knots. We pretty much, if it's a crosswind, would stop it. Yeah.
And how difficult is it to shoot in those conditions?
In the beginning, it is extremely difficult, because you're trying to read the wind.
Right.
And but once you get to a point where you can, as you said, sit in a chair and meditate for a while, but you sit in the chair and you focus on the winds and what they're doing. So by the time you get on the line and you start shooting, you know whether you're going to be adjusting your sights or whether you're going to be aiming off to sort that wind situation out. You'll know by the time you get on the line whether those gusts are up high for long periods of time or whether they drop out for long periods of time. And then you either work on shooting between those. You either shoot when the wind drops out or you shoot when the wind's strong. Whichever you pick, you stick to right through your entire shoot.
Right. Now, is there a time frame for those 6 arrows?
There is a 4-minute time frame for those 6 arrows, and then you get the windy condition. That's when that 4 minutes becomes a challenge. Other than that, in good conditions, that 4 minutes is most of your shooters will finish under 2 minutes when the conditions are good.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get Bernard to come back, but when you compete less now.
Yes, I do.
Because you're in the position of
spending a bit more time coaching.
Right, right. But when how often do you yourself get to, because you never want to put it down, do you?
No, you don't. In fact, I've signed up to shoot this one this weekend, but I'm going to be shooting what we call beer boat.
Oh, okay.
I won't have any of the sights. I won't have any of the bells and whistles. I wouldn't be shooting the Olympic style shooting.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to shoot.
And that's just so you can feel like you're in a competition kind of thing?
Well, and also to add numbers to that class. We're trying to grow that class as well. So we're trying to. Our main focus is Olympic recurve shooting. That's our main focus. But we're also got archers that are interested in other types of shooting as well. And the bear bow shooting is one of them. So we're basically trying to grow those groups and get those groups a bit larger.
What do you shoot?
I shoot the Olympic recurve.
Right.
Yeah.
Why did you pick that one? Because it seems so technical.
Well, if you want to go to the Olympics this year.
Well, yes, but I mean, when you look at that particular bow, it has so many different strings. It takes so. I mean, how long did it take you to understand what each of those strings have to do in order for you to make sure that you're hitting that target where you want to hit it?
The actual Olympic recurve bow is actually shooting one string.
Right.
The compound bow is the multi-string.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the compound bow, and we've got compound shooters as well, and there will be compound shooting in this competition on the weekend as well. So we will have.
That's for the older guys, isn't it?
Well, that's what they say. Is then those guys get tired of the all that intricate stuff on the Olympic recurve bow. They pick the compound bow. In a sense, it's easier to shoot. It's definitely more accurate to shoot.
Right.
But it takes some learning to learn the ins and outs of it. It takes a lot longer to tune that compound bow than it does the recurve bow. So there's a lot more that can go wrong during a shoot.
Right.
And I think for the reason of how accurate they are now is the reason they were taken out of the Olympics. So that compound bow, I don't think will ever end up back in the Olympics again.
No.
Yeah.
A question for Bernard. Bernard, you've been around for a while, but your mentor and your coach here has been around for a long time. You must give him credit because he basically did this on his own. I remember him when I just got out of university. I was leaving like that. And he was still doing art.
Yesterday, right? That was yesterday.
Yeah, I wish it was yesterday, right? Yeah, both of us would have this gray on us, right? Yesterday.
That's painted.
How has it been? How has it been under his tutelage to learn this sport?
It's been good. Definitely, he's helped push me. I thought that would be good.
Right.
Definitely helped me improve a good bit. So, definitely helped me out with equipment-wise as well.
Right.
Let me try out his equipment that he has, which helped me actually get a medal in the Island Games last year.
With that said, from just listening to all three of your athletes here, it sounds like the future bodes well for Bermuda in this sport. Can you see yourselves raising the bar and eventually say, represent Bermuda in the Olympics? Because that's our pinnacle of sports.
I would like to,
Good.
But probably wouldn't be me. Probably be maybe one of these two here beside me.
Why you say that?
It's really tough to improve, especially as you're an older person.
But you put the time in. You're still a young man, man. You're still a young man. You see, your coach has been around for a long time.
Yeah.
That's right.
So put the time in, you can get there.
That's right.
How many qualifications are there out there?
How many? Sorry.
How many qualification competitions are there out there?
There's several of them. There's several, and unfortunately, Commonwealth Games is kind of on and off with archery. I think the last time we had archery in Commonwealth Games was when we went to India.
Right.
They are expected to be in the next game, so we're hoping that does come to light. I think we're a bit behind the 8 ball a bit to make that one. But the next one, it's definitely potential, and the good thing is that I have made the necessary contacts overseas with coaching facilities and everything. So we basically have
the groundwork's done.
A high-tech coaching ability that we can go to overseas that's open to us. One in Gainesville, one in Lancaster, Philadelphia. And that's not using the Olympic Training Center over in Colorado, which is another option as well. So we have 2 of them that's close to us, one in Philadelphia, one in Florida.
Potential wise, how do you see us over the next few years?
If we can get the necessary programs together, fundings and stuff, I would see us putting an archer or having archers that are shooting that Olympic qualifying score. Depending on how the qualifying is for small countries for the Olympics, and that's not the same as just some of the bigger countries. So I would think we would definitely, by not the next Olympics but the following Olympics, we would have shooters that are shooting that qualifying score.
Now, how are those rules? You have to do it twice, or do you have to do it once?
It's twice in a year, in that year. So and I don't know how the wild card works for that as far as small islands, but that's something obviously once we get closer to that we'll be looking into. So.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. All right. I meant to ask the young lady to come back, but yeah, come back. I want to ask you a quick question regarding: were you ultimately surprised at your performance in winning a medal?
Yes, because at the time I kept telling myself, I'm here to just have fun, it's for the experience, because I used to be very competitive, so if I wasn't shooting good I would start to get frustrated and kind of irritated with myself. So I kept telling myself, you're here for fun, you're here for the experience, it's no guarantee that you will win something. So I shot like that and I kept that mentality, and then one of the girls came up to me, because I did make a few friends, so one of the girls came up to me and was like, you came second. I was like,
so that was the first time you had really taken a note of the score and what? Oh, okay, all right.
Because when I did make friends down there, they were telling me where they were from and how long they came to get there, and then they asked me, and I was like, well, I'm from Bermuda, and they were like, well, you should definitely win something. You took the longest to get there. I was like, oh well.
Well, we'll be down on Saturday.
Yes.
Good luck to everyone. That's one of the things I haven't tried yet.
Maybe we can get you on the range
on
Saturday.
No. You people in the background be in trouble. I want to thank you guys for coming and sharing your experiences thus far. And good luck on Saturday to the competitors, all four of you.
Thank you.
And Ross, will stay in touch to see how things are progressing throughout the remainder of the year.
Thank you.
Okay. All right.
All right.
And we'll be back after this message from our sponsors.
Sports Talk Radio has been presented to you by Lindo's Group of Companies, Colonial Group International, Global Atlantic Financial Group, Game Time, and Fit for Life.
Enjoy your games.
We'll return after the
Thank you. Well, I look forward to seeing you down there.
Insurance plan that does most of the thinking for you.
505-8008. You got Trina's number. You could probably.
She
cool. She got the trivia.
She won. She won
the trivia.
She doesn't want to call.
She won it. Well, you said Roberts. I'm saying, okay, there's a
all these Robertses here. What's going on?
It's fixed.
I've got a couple of contact numbers on there as well, just in case somebody
and she
may
said,
call you guys and say,
she gave me the answer was like, she gave me the full answer. You know what I mean?
Just
She
put
gave me
the
the full
back
answer.
of that as well. That's the archery number on there, which is, I can barely see because I ain't got my glasses on, but also my.
And you can get delicious results in the kitchen with Coca-Cola. The flavor of the Cola.
That's another console number.
All right, cool. All right, thanks.
All right, thanks a lot, guys. Appreciate that, man.
All right,
thank you. Take care. Thanks.
All right, take it easy. Yeah. Okay. All right, there, youngster. Cool.
Best luck, yo.
All your sports betting needs with us. Introducing Game Time.
Yes, she won it.
Next.
When she says Roberts, I said, what is she saying Roberts?
How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Mike, do it live.
That's the wife.
She won.
Oh, this is wife. Yeah.
She won.
She won it.
Yeah.
Yeah. She even before I answered, she get fastest knockout.
I'm in school with her. That's what's the name's sister.
Mike should do it live.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, should do it live.
Oh, wait. You can even stop.
I was watching you in St. George's. I know you didn't see me. You turned that thing away from me? Yeah, but you turned it away from me?
It's live.
It's live.
Live from Russia. It's brought to you by Colonial Group International, Butterfield.
No sponsor?
No. Vacation then
Same thing, yeah.
okay.
Vacation package and Ralph.
Okay.
Are you a lover of quality food? Join me, Shelley Thunder, at 5:30 p.m. every Wednesday on Ocean 89 for Foodie 411. We will keep you in the loop with the hottest restaurants, and cocktail pairings, and food-related products and events. We'll share delicious tips to satisfy your inner food critic, from gourmet dining to casual fare. Tune in every Wednesday at 5:30 on Ocean 89. Foodie 411 is brought to you by Catelli distributed exclusively by Buffalo and Dallas.
All right.
AccuWeather, the world's weather leader. Meteorologists who thrive on the new technology that can help you start your day. From St. George's to Somerset, sunshine to severe weather, with digital Doppler radar, AccuWeather helps you stay on top of your day. Proudly brought to you by BF&M. AccuWeather only on ZBM TV9, where community...
One more spot, Mike. One more.
Another one?
Yeah, one more. Bring it right up to 1 o'clock.
This is Dr. Stanley.
Right after
Hill.
this.
Join me on the morning show on Power 95, Friday mornings at 7:45 a.m. It's all about you. This 15-minute segment will cover nutrition for medicine, cancer prevention, and even the reversal of diabetes, blood pressure, and heart disease. It's all about you. Friday mornings at 7:45 a.m. Power 95. Brought to you by the Premier Health and Wellness Center. It's all about you.
You're locked to Power 95, Bermuda's big station, at 94.9 FM, a Bermuda Broadcasting Company station.
Good afternoon, I'm Mike Sharp with Bermuda Broadcasting News. The government has released more details about how a new tax on vacation rentals will work. The Vacation Rentals Act commenced last week, but with little guidance on how it would be implemented. Tony Waterman has more.
July 27th to register their vacation rental with the government. Forms can be downloaded on the gov.bm website, and hard copies can be collected from the Ministry of Economic Development and Tourism. It can take up to 21 days before a vacation rental certificate is issued. The certificate is valid for 1 year. If your property falls under rent control, you will need to seek permission to operate as a vacation rental. The 4.5% tax will be effective on reservations made from September 1st onwards. So if a booking is made before then, it's not subject to the fee, regardless of when the visit occurs.
So many people are doing it.
Managers will be responsible for remitting the 4.5% fee to the Bermuda Tourism
That's when it took off, you know.
Airbnb is already able to directly remit the money, but for listings on other platforms, homeowners or agents will have to collect the money and remit it to the BTA either online or in person on a monthly basis. The Act limits rentals to an aggregate of 6 months out of the year. It's still unclear how this will be monitored. Those who fail to register or remit the fee will be subject to a fine up to $10,000. Tony Waterman for Bermuda Broadcasting News.
A 63-year-old man was injured at sea following a marine collision with the sailboat Spirit of Bermuda. It happened late Friday night in Hamilton Harbor between 9 and 10. The passenger was apparently traveling in a smaller boat in waters off All Boys Point when it collided with the Spirit of Bermuda. He was transported to hospital via ambulance for treatment for non-life-threatening injuries. Witnesses or persons with any information regarding the incident are asked to call the main police telephone number 295-0011. Pembroke Southeast MP Rolf Commission believes more should be done in the private sector to foster diversity among the ranks. He made the statement recently after hailing a new government policy designed at creating affirmative action in favor of racial minorities when it concerns government contracts and procurement.
These voices, such as Jonathan Rice's voice and others.
You tell the most a little better. It only started getting better yesterday. Saturday was bad.
Anything for it?
All I've been doing is just brushing my teeth and gently. Just
what's going on?
It was killing me, man. And I could pronounce better. I feel, it's weird, man. And that's the second time in this year. Second time in a year. So something's
If you're
good.
washing in peroxide of warm water,
Yeah.
clean it.
Yeah, that's what I got to do probably.
Peroxide of warm water.
So that was crazy, man. This killing me walking, weak, swollen, and this.
Yeah.
Can't get
yeah, aching from head to toe, literally.
And then losing my brother, you know. We have major news out of the United Kingdom at this hour. Boris Johnson has resigned as Foreign Secretary amid a growing political crisis over the UK's Brexit strategy. He is the second senior cabinet minister to quit within hours following Brexit Secretary David Davis's exit. The BBC in London reporting that his departure came 30 minutes before Prime Minister Theresa May is due to address Parliament about her new Brexit plan, which has angered many Tory MPs. In a statement, the Prime Minister's office thanked Mr. Johnson for his work and said a replacement would be announced shortly. Once again, British Foreign Secretary Boris Johnson has quit. And turning to sports, World Cup semi-final action tomorrow. Who's it going to be, Don? France or Belgium? And then on Tuesday, England face Croatia. Of course, all of it can be seen live on ZFB TV7 with repeats later that night. I'm Mike Sharp with Bermuda Broadcasting News.
All right, maybe we'll have to see. That one.
This weather update is provided by the Bermuda Weather Service. Sponsored by...
Oh, yours.
Okay, thanks very much, Mike. 5 minutes after 1 o'clock right now. Sunny breaks. Showers decreasing today. High 82 degrees. Winds are from the south to southwest. For tonight, cloudy. Again, south to southwesterly winds, light to moderate for tonight. A low near 77 degrees. Tuesday, sun and clouds out there. Showers, otherwise dry for Tuesday. High 85, a low 78 degrees. Hump Day Wednesday, some sunny spells to deal with. Nice, mainly in the morning time hours. High 84, a low 76 degrees. Thursday, some sunny spells, more shower activity. A chance of thunder for Thursday. Guaranteed rain, however, improving for Thursday. High 83, a low 77. And for Friday, patchy clouds, showers, developing toward evening. Expected high 84, a low 77 degrees.
This weather update is provided by the Bermuda Weather Service. Sponsored by BF&M.
And thanks to the folks at BF&M and the Bermuda Weather Service.
Sports Talk Radio on Power 95 FM with host Ian Rollins and co-host Earl Basin.
And welcome back to Inside Sports Talk Radio. Joining us in the studio right now is the president of the Bermuda Netball Association, Ms. Kamal Evans. Good afternoon to you as you put your headphones on. Okay, you got some time. Not a problem. Just want to congratulate the winner, a new winner at that point of Inside Sports Talk Radio regarding our sports trivia question. I think this may have been the person calling for the first time ever. It's so ironic that the guest we had in studio, Mr. Ross Roberts, is it? It was his wife that won this sports trivia question. And it's a coincidence. It wasn't set up. Trust me. Let me make that very clear. Congratulations to Trina Roberts. She got the correct answer for Troy Darrell. And the question was, in boxing professional ring lore, Troy Darrell's name is etched with some of the greats of professional boxing. What particular distinction does he hold in boxing legend? And that is the fastest knockout, 14 seconds ever in Madison Square Garden history. 14 seconds in the first round. That's amazing.
Yeah.
I never knew that until I obviously went through the...
Takes you longer to warm up.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Absolutely right. So again, to Trina Roberts, congratulations for winning that sports trivia question. We will call you afterwards. And I think that one was donated by the 4-Star Pizza. So congratulations to you. 14 seconds, Troy Darrell knocked out the fastest person at Madison Square Garden. Congratulations. Good afternoon, Ms. Evans. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
It's that time of year. You're sending a team overseas to Florida, I think, on the 21st, competing down the 21 national squad, youth squad, I should say.
Yes.
Explain to us, how was this squad selected, and where are you going from here once the team is done? Where are you regarding preparation, final preparations?
Well, as in previous interviews, we always, alluded to and pointed towards us developing an actual program. So the program has been in operation now going on 2 years with these young ladies training at least 3 times a week since December of last year. The last month now they've been training 4 days, and with the last 2 weeks they'll be training 5 days a week. So their commitment has been really exemplary. They deserve huge kudos. This group of young ladies are very, very committed to the sport, I can say, because we've had a few that went through graduations. We've had 2 of them are university students. Some have been doing their GCSEs and things like that. So to still have been totally committed to the program, we are definitely witnessing the fruits of our labor and of their labor. We had approximately about 20 girls consistently training. As it got a bit closer to maybe graduation and graduation and testing and things like that, and exams, they basically decided that they needed to withdraw themselves, some of them, that wasn't fully able to be committed, but the nucleus of them stuck by it, and they're looking extremely, extremely well.
How much of the Summer League helped out as far as fine-tuning things?
Well, the Summer League definitely gave us match play, much-needed match play. While there wasn't a huge amount of competition, it allowed us to work on specific things. It allowed us to work on maybe driving into space. It allowed us to work on resetting plays and driving onto the ball and things of that nature, because and I really would like to give kudos to the Summer League teams, because they were like, these girls are making me tired. They're running. But that's one of our assets that we have as a team. We're extremely fit and we're very, very fast. So that allowed them to have match play like in previous years. I mean, obviously during the summer months, we're not playing because netball is a winter sport. So it comes in handy, and it definitely came in handy this time for them to participate in that league. Obviously not competing for any spots or anything like that, but just being able to play, to actually play.
Now you're going up against the likes of USA and Canada, who we played 2 years ago. Well, USA 2 years ago, maybe? Or last year.
Yes.
Yeah. So we understand what we're up against as far as that, but what do you think is going to be the girls' biggest challenge this time around?
I'm not sure, because when we played USA, it was their senior team. I'm not exactly sure what their under-21 team looks like. I'm going to be very honest. Haven't been able to even see a clip, a snip, or something. So all we can do is actually prepare ourselves and stick to our game plan. We can try and make some adjustments once we get there, and hope that all that we've been doing to prepare will be able for us to come out victorious, because we have to, like I said before, we play our style of netball. And while we can tweak things defensively, offensively, depending on what the opposition gives us, we still have to stick to what is our style of netball. And I think that it's something that is definitely evolving, and we're getting really, really, really good at it. And it's going to be Bermuda style of netball, not UK, not the Caribbean, but Bermuda.
Well, one of our biggest challenges is always going to be height. As we see throughout the Caribbean, we watch World Championship netball, and they all have the height. And obviously, we here have refocused our energy on speed and the ability to get into their spaces a lot faster. What are some of the things in particular you and assistant coach Tony Machette worked on to ensure that we can get into their spaces faster? We can get the ball where it needs to be when it has to be there, to alleviate that opposition of height and reach.
Well, a lot of it has been the strength and endurance training. With Beast Gym, our trainer Abera, he's been fantastic with us. He went and he actually worked off of a program that was based on NFL. if you look at the running backs and things like that, a lot of theirs is speed and agility and change direction and basically focusing your peripheral vision so that you can see things. And those are some areas that we not only as the coaches were working on, but also in their endurance training was piggybacking off of it, getting our legs nice and strong, not only our quads and our thighs, but also that slight outside muscle just by below the calf, which is helps with us to try and push off to change direction and things like that. So we've really been working very, very hard in those areas to not only have their bodies equipped for it, but to also, you know, get their minds adjusted to these types of things.
The one thing we haven't done, and this will be my last, one thing we haven't done, name your team. Or you're talking about a team,
that's
even
fine,
name.
that's
pretty
fine.
much like Somerset will do.
Well, yes, our team, we have Amali Smith that will be captain of the team. Amali is a phenomenal player. Debray Evans is vice captain. Krista Smith, Kamala Nasir, Kaylee Lima, Maya Sanders, Micah Pond, Nabila Nasir, who's the twin of Kamala Nasir, Selah Tuzo, who's our youngest on the team at 14 years old, Tia Burrows, Zakia Dorm, and Zaria Amory.
And your assistant coach?
My assistant coach is Anthony Machette. So usually I come here in the capacity as president, but today I'm here in the capacity of
President, head
coach of the under-21 team.
Yeah.
It's truly been a pleasure for me because I had these girls under 16, so we've kind of grown together, and I know what their ability is. We opened it up and brought some new players on board, so there are a few new faces in here, which is great. You know, it's great for the sport.
It also says the mandate that you outlined as you became president, I think it was 2 years ago. If you bring these nucleus of young ladies forth now, as obviously the hard work is paid off. Where Mr. Bays in action with the summer program, and look where you are now as you prepare for the under-21 program in Florida later this month. That means that your program, your mandates, and everything is starting to fall in place. Like any other sport, netball has its problems playing international matches. How do you keep the teams at any age focused as you prepare for international matches only maybe twice a year?
Well, once again, I think that it starts from our youth programs. So these young ladies started from under 16s and understood that this is a requirement and it's an honor to represent your country. I think as a country, we kind of fall off in that area. We don't have pride. So I think that it's very important that us as the coaches and also the league coaches let their team players know that it's a privilege to represent your country, and you get out what you put in. And so this group of young ladies definitely appreciate and see that. Netball is not the only sport for quite a few of them. Some of them have represented for other sports. So they do have a sense of pride. It's not just about self, and it's not just about a trip. I can tell you right now, they want to go there and they want to win. And they know a lot of the emphasis is put on them and us rebuilding, that they're the future of netball. So it starts here, really.
How much has the training changed? And we use you for example. When you were representing Bermuda under 21s, under 21s. What was training like? What was training like then, as opposed to now? These young ladies are in the gym at Beach Gym. You're going through some weight training. You're pushing sleds. You're squatting. You're doing dips. You're doing a bit of everything. But how much has it changed?
Well, in all honesty, they're using natural body weight.
Okay.
With athletes like this, because they need to be somewhat slender and they need a lean muscle tone, it's important that they use their natural body weight versus going with heavy weights and building so much muscle that it might make them tight or might make them more injury prone and too much muscle mass. So it's about getting a fine balance with that. Now, when I used to train, we used to do a lot of fitness. I can tell you a lot of runs, a lot of long runs that help to build endurance. I had some phenomenal coaches over the years that I can say that's helped to shape me into the coach that I am today. So it's important that, we still hold on to some of those philosophies, but just modernize them a little bit. We focus a lot on technical aspects, preparing for the next two passes versus the next pass. and making sure that your body positioning is right, making sure that your body's balanced and controlled. A lot of emphasis goes on that because we had to reshift the way we do things because we are down there playing on the asphalt. So a lot of focus goes on landing correctly, and not just landing correctly on that particular surface is that much more important, but to make sure that they're landing correctly to help prevent damage to the knees and things like that. So we spend a lot of time and emphasis on catching with the correct technique, and I can say that back then a lot of that, you just done it, you just caught, like I'm gonna throw the ball and you're just gonna catch. We wasn't doing the things like making sure you got your W or preventing that ball from going in between the space and different things like that. So we put a lot of emphasis on the technical aspect of how to catch and how to position yourself.
Mr. Basin asked earlier, you stated earlier that you're going up against USA, Canada, powerhouses as in population. Where do you see this squad, Bermuda squad, once this event is finished, this tournament, where do you see them beyond this?
Well, this tournament in particular is really the pinnacle of what we're building for, which is the World Youth Cup in 2021.
Okay.
And basically in our region, we've always been one of the teams that have represented from our region because there is a challenge for a lot of other countries to kind of do that in between age group. So I know the likes of Jamaica will probably already be in, and then there will be 3 spots from our region to take part in this tournament. Right. So, for us to see how we fare against USA and Canada, because there's obviously if we're having this developmental tournament against them, they're probably potentially looking forward, to being a part of that. So this will give us a good gauge to see, where we're at.
Wow. You're seeing them grow over time, since your title as the president and then the head coach. The prospects are obviously what you're saying are looking good, and it looks good for down the future. What's coming behind these young ladies? Because the problem is in Bermuda sports that we have one nucleus, one age group that we focus on, and then we lose that gap. Are you looking to bring more on?
Well, currently right now in our program we have under 16s and under 19/21s and senior teams in training. So the under 16s are players that could be between anywhere underneath 16, but maybe from 12 and upwards, and that's the age that you really need to start targeting from the beginning in order to get the body developed how we need the body to be developed. And also not just the body but the mental aspect of things. So we have a good focus group there. Shaquita Simmons is the coach of that under 16 group, and they train twice a week. We also had a scout from the UK that came to our training session on Sunday to look at through footy for us, through Vinzi Zoo, to potential netball players for potential scholarship opportunities between the age of 12 and 15. So we had some of those squad members come out and showcase themselves, and hopefully we can bear some fruit from that as well. So we're definitely trying to push the bar and continue to push the bar. So
in our sports in Bermuda, I'm just going to look at, say, track and field, cricket, and football, just to name as an example. There's an opportunity now where the organizations and the clubs are bringing in these international scouts. What is it like for netball? Are they looking to take that same path where these young ladies can possibly get scholarships down the road?
Well, we done that with the National Junior Athlete. We had a player go last year that went down to Wasp Netball Club in England for possible university exposure, and then we have another one that's going to be going again this year. So we have that relationship going, and now hopefully this can help build with another relationship with the younger ones that are in high school. So if we can get some players overseas in high school and then potentially be able to move off to university, then that's what we're looking to do.
And does that broaden the horizon, meaning that there's a possibility that these young ladies they can go into Canada as well, not just in Europe, but Canada and the United States for scholarships, possibly in that part?
Well, right now it's just in Europe. I believe I can only say, based on my experience from previous years, that Canada and USA mainly have a team of immigrants, for lack of a better word.
And that's who we play against in all sports.
International athletes, how's that?
Yeah,
well,
international.
Passport holders.
Yes, passport holders, definitely. But they're not born Americans. So, so that's why I say, you know, we don't know what we're up against. And right now, they're also rebuilding in a sense. There's only like a small part of Canada that they play in, and even in the United States they have to get them from all areas, and they try and meet up in Fort Lauderdale. I don't know how the training's been going or anything like that, because it's not like they're all in one area, so that's definitely an advantage that we have.
Right.
You know.
Okay, fair enough. I understand that Trump takes care of them, so
yeah, he's trying to deport them.
That's what I'm doing. Take care of them.
Hey,
you don't want them.
I don't know.
But overall, you must be pleased with what you have and the expectations in this tournament. I don't know, have you raised the bar? Have you set a standard where this is what you're looking for? Or this is the nucleus saying going forward, which you mentioned earlier, this is what we're going to look for going with this team here?
Well, with this particular team or group of young ladies, this is the 12 that was selected for this tournament, but we have a group of players that will still be training once we get back. You know, it's not to say that you made this team that you'll just be in the next team, but realistically, I don't go into anything trying to lose, so I'm looking to win this tournament. So I think that, you know, they deserve it. They've put in the work. They've done the work. They've done the hard work. And so now they just need to reward themselves and execute everything that, you know, we've been practicing over the last few months.
What's it been like with assistant coach Anthony Michette before we wrap up? And the reason I'm asking about him is because he's been around for numerous years on netball. He has so much knowledge, especially in the international side.
Well, Coach Michette, I mean, he's a really good guy and very committed to the sport. It's not that often that you find a male that is, you know, that invested in netball. I think the last male that I knew was Larry Dennis, who was the previous president and, you know, national coach. So we appreciate him. He definitely is a stats type of guy. He goes online and, you know, he does some homework and things like that, which we can appreciate. He's very good at putting together like different drills and things like that. So it's nice to have someone that shows that they're committed not just to the training aspect, but he's also good when it comes to like our fundraising initiatives and everything. The group that we have right now is very invested in netball, and we're really pushing really hard, especially because we know that, you know, we always have challenges with funding. So we're doing all that we can to try and create opportunities in order for us to grow as a country, you know, and for netball to you know, take it a little bit further than where we've been.
Cool. Is there anything you'd like to add before we wrap up, President?
We're always looking for financial support. I can definitely say that. We are just shy of our quota, so, you know, we're going to make it work. We leave in 2 weeks. So I encourage anyone that's looking to financially maybe support us in some way, shape or form, to contact us at bdanetball@hotmail.com. Every little bit counts.
Right. We wish you all the best.
Thank you.
From the 21st to the 26th. And you've been doing a good job as president. I know you do it. Jesus. President of this, head coach of this, takes our children to all the sporting events, supports St. George's, cup match teams.
Everybody looks of it, so do you.
Trust me. This will be the first and last time we're in the shirt.
Ian,
yes, sir.
You've done it the last 3 Mondays. Don't try to change.
I didn't change anything.
DB.
Nope.
Already got one.
Right, let me make it very clear.
DB on got one.
Let me make it very clear because Kamal started this. When I gave you all front, you got your St. George's colors on, right?
Oh, I didn't want to say nothing until we were on the air.
Well, I'm gonna make it very clear. Today can be last time.
All I'm saying is that it's beautiful to sit there and look at one in dark blue and one in light blue.
There you go.
Looks beautiful.
There you go.
And you know what? You want to say that? Okay, it's beautiful to say this, right? And it's a fact. It's so beautiful that someone says the cup and St. George's need to get the cup.
Bro, you already know which side is good, so that's why you're wearing these colors now.
But both sides again. Next week I'll be red and blue. So then what? Both sides. Yeah, suck your teeth. Yeah, thank you. That's what I'm saying.
You started red is for Liverpool. Don't even represent Somerset.
Brown and brown.
Some thick and thin, bro.
We'll be back after this message from our sponsors.
Video has been presented to you by Windows Group of Companies.
I don't know your guess.
Yeah, no, sir.
Oh, okay.
Financial Group.
Oh, yeah.
I just told him 3.
Oh, how many?
Just a whole bunch, but he's only going to bring 3.
Okay, cool.
The importance of fruit juice cannot be
Okay, see you later.
for its health benefits, convenience, and sheer deliciousness. Ask anyone raising children. Lakewood Juice Company, a family business, has been bottling their diverse line of pure organic and premium juices since 1935. Lakewood fresh pressed juices are a delicious natural source of antioxidants, dietary fiber, vitamins and minerals, and with no additives or artificial ingredients. Lindo's, why you anyplace else?
What time is it? It's game time. More opportunities to win. All your sports betting needs without the road trip. Introducing Game Time East and Game Time West. Located next to Wahoo's in St. George's and Main Road, Somerset by Somerset Cricket Club. All Game Time outlets open Monday to Friday 12 to 6, Saturdays 8:30 till 5, and Sundays 10 till 5. For more details, visit gametime.bm or call 296-366. Game Time. We play, we pay. Game Time is a socially responsible gaming establishment.
Premier Health is a smart health insurance plan that does most of the thinking for you.
You're automatically connected to 1 million U.S. network providers, 24/7 worldwide support.
And more local providers who are registered online.
96% of claims are settled in 5 days, often without paperwork. Less paperwork cuts errors, delays, and costs.
So more of your premium goes towards generous benefits.
Premier Health. Smart health insurance feels good.
Call Colonial on 296-3200
or visit cgigroup.com.
Philadelphia International Medicine provides the best services for international patients and physicians with access to a superb network of world-renowned doctors. Now PIM is pleased to share with you physicians on call every first and third Thursday on Ocean 89 FM. This new radio show will be informative and up to the minute, covering every aspect of the medical field. Join me, Shelley Thunder.
Actually swap out. I'm going to speak to him first.
Okay, you speak to him. Who you speak to first?
By the good folks at Philadelphia International Medicine.
Okay, switch up, we're all set?
AccuWeather, the world weather leader.
No, then we could switch them up.
Okay.
Okay. From St. George's to Somerset,
Just put on the headsets.
to severe weather with digital Doppler radar, AccuWeather helps you stay on top of your day. Proudly brought to you by AccuWeather, only on ZDM TV9, where community always works.
What's that?
Yeah, all right.
You may put one in my seat. Your call.
If you want.
It's your call.
Actually.
Wins the title as confirmed World Cup champions. Witness all the action as 32 teams go head to head.
If I move that around a little bit, he got Don's mic.
Oh, Don.
2018 FIFA World Cup live from Russia.
Live streaming. Donnie, you want to bring your mic around there a bit?
Just bring your
chair in a bit. Okay, cool.
Go this way. Go this way.
This way too.
Towards this way.
Okay, right here. More?
No more. Right there.
And you come back on this side, yeah? Right there. Yeah.
I got you.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
You gonna bring him in?
Yeah.
I guess I heard you talking through the ears.
Yeah.
Now, back to Inside Sports Talk Radio. Inside Sports Talk Radio. On 95 FM with host Ian Rollins and co-host Earl Bayston.
Well, I want to say welcome back to Inside Sports Talk Radio. Joining us in studio now is members of the martial arts community, several members of the Wing Lam Kung Fu School, under the guidance of Sifu David Simons, traveled to Florida recently. For some, was that their first opportunity at an international competition?
Yes, for all of them, this first opportunity to compete in an international competition.
Now, as someone who trains and oversees a program, is it a bit nerve-wracking for you because you don't know what to expect from them when it comes to a different environment?
Yes, it was very nerve-wracking. Training them for the last several months to prepare for this tournament. You get chances where you see the ups and downs, and because it's an international tournament, you, as a Sifu, you always want to see your students do well.
Right.
And getting out there, at the tournament, with over 1,000 competitors.
Right.
You can see how nerve-wracking it can be.
Right.
Trying to keep them calm down as well. Someone was getting nervous because they never seen so much competitors before.
Right. Yeah. Now, they compete in several different disciplines.
Yes.
How does one train for, let alone one, but two different styles to compete internationally?
Well, in this case here, they was all competing in the Northern Shaolin. They had to do open hand form and weapon forms.
Right.
So it was very easy because it's all incorporated in our system.
Okay. In the training aspect of it.
In the training aspect, yes.
Okay. Now you have a young man sitting next to you. Introduce yourself.
My name's Aiden Alderbridge.
Well, welcome, Aiden. How are you?
Good.
Were you nervous when you were in Florida?
Yes.
What made you nervous?
There was like over 1,000 people and more.
You didn't have to fight them all, though. Or you didn't have to go up against them all, did you?
Nope.
Over the years in your training, what did you take from Bermuda that helped you when you were out there all alone? Because you go to that center ring by yourself. You're on the mat. Is it the mat?
Yes.
Yeah, you're on the mat by yourself. If you're up against someone, what did you take from here that helped you once you started competing?
I practice, and we have to work hard when we do our training in the school, and we gotta try our best. And if we make mistakes, that's good. We could just get up and lift our head up proud and just keep on practicing.
And that's something that you've learned from?
Yes.
Yeah? Okay. Now, do you realize when you make mistakes?
Yes.
How early do you realize it? The minute it happens, or do you wait? Do you notice it at the end?
Sometimes I notice it like as soon as I do it, and sometimes I don't notice my mistakes.
What's your reaction when you know you've done something wrong? Are you looking around to see if anybody else noticed?
Like my face, I got face expressions, and I make those type of face expressions and stuff.
Oh, okay, all right. Well, welcome and
thank you.
For you, well, first introduce yourself.
My name is Aranthus Turner.
Right. Now, competing in an environment of what we would consider the unknown, where you've got all these people watching. You're one of the seasoned ones compared to the others. But you want to put your best foot forward because you want them to follow a lead. How much pressure do you put on yourself?
Wow.
As he pauses, it's pressure now.
Yep. The thing is, I actually did the tournament because my daughter did it.
Right.
So I had to make sure that if I put my best foot forward, and no matter what the outcome was, I did my best. It was okay. Grandly speaking, I did what I had to do, and like you asked, one of the twins, when you know how you make a mistake. I actually knew when I made a mistake at the tournament, and I realized, like, man, if I'd have did something better, I probably would have got a gold or even a silver. But you have to just try to do your best foot forward. Always keep a poker face, because if you don't, they know when you make a mistake.
Right.
Always have to keep a poker face.
Right. How challenging was it? I mean, because you say you was with your daughter, but for you, how challenging is it to ensure that you're doing the right thing in order for people to follow, especially your daughter?
Well, as human beings, we are not perfect.
No.
But we have to try to live in that righteous manner so they can actually see. As a father, that's what I want. Because I have a girl, I want she'll look at another man to say, that's what I want my significant other to be like. So I don't know. It's weird, As a father, you're looking to say, okay, this is what I want my daughter to look at as me as a man. But then again, am I doing the right thing? Am I not? So it's a gambling game, basically.
Right. Young lady, introduce yourself.
My name is Milan Powell.
Hello, Milan. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
That's good. Did you enjoy yourself?
Yes, I enjoyed myself a lot.
How challenging was it for you?
It was not sort of challenging for me because I only had one other competitor in my age category who competed against me.
Right. But obviously you're looking around because there's a lot of noise going on. There's a lot of distractions. How focused do you have to be to ensure that although you only have another competitor, you want to win the competition. How focused do you have to be for that?
You have to be really focused because, as you said, it's a lot of talking and clapping and.
Are you easily distracted?
No, I'm not easily distracted. So it's like.
Okay. Do you at times find yourself, although a young lady, meditating? When I say meditating, meaning going deep within yourself to try and make sure that you are concentrating enough on what's your task at hand?
Yeah.
And where do you learn that from?
My training.
Yeah. And I'll go back to seafood. But is that something that you teach from the outset, knowing oneself first?
Yes, one has to know themselves. They have to develop also self-confidence and the discipline to do the art. Our system has 45 forms.
45? 45
forms. Wow. And that's not including the other forms that I've learned when I traveled to China to train.
45.
Right.
How many do you know, Manette? That she's counted.
I see that. She knows more than you and I do. That's for sure.
I know run.
Yeah.
You got a number now?
You got a number?
It's about 6 or 7.
Right. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. What about you, young man?
I know 6 forms because I know Dinda, continuous boxing, limbo kun, stick form, and territory, and all these.
Chom sum?
Yeah, chom sum.
What would you say is your favorite?
Well, my favorite is chom sum.
And that's the one you forgot?
No.
Oh.
I did it in the tournament away.
Oh, okay.
Confident young man.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Let me ask a question, and you 3 of you can answer this. Why did you guys choose martial arts as your sport?
You and me answer that.
Any one of you, any 3 of you can answer. You can lead by example.
Initially, like I said, my daughter. That was my daughter does 2 sports, and her initial sport is track. So she's extremely good at it, and at any given time, if she succeeds or goes further, I want her to be able to protect herself as a father.
Right.
I'm not going to always be with her.
Right.
So martial arts, we actually snuck in Seafood's school at the age of 4. You told him she was 4 getting 5. She actually went 4 that year. And
you're saying that you're not perfect, so yeah. Got the white lie.
But she showed a lot of promise at that age. So when she started to do it, me and my wife started to do it. So we made it a family activity, and then I always wanted to do martial arts as a kid, but playing at that time football was hardly #1 sport in my generation bracket, and you didn't hear about martial arts that much. But as I got older, I started to hear more about it, and my daughter started to progress, and I said, you know what, let me do it with her, and that's how I got into it.
You young lady?
I got into martial arts because my auntie actually signed me up for martial
arts. That's a good one.
And then she said that I would be really good at it, so I took a shot at it. I said, okay, I like it, so I'll just stay and I've progressed.
Are you taking this opportunity to encourage other young ladies to be a part of it now?
Yes, I've told my friends about it, and they said, oh, well, you do good at what you do. And I said, one of my friends actually wanted to try it, but she hasn't had a chance to yet, so.
I'm sure you'll be invited to one of the sessions, right?
Yeah.
Winning the advanced girl straight sword division, how special was that for you?
It was really special for me because it was my first international tournament overseas. So it was like, it's a good accomplishment for me. And
yeah. Were you surprised at your performance overall?
Yes, I really was.
Everything came together.
Yeah.
Now, I saw some of your students take part, I believe, at Hamilton Princess. Yes. That was one of the first times I had seen different art forms. Generally, we get to see the regular ones, but I was quite impressed. How long have some of these students been involved in your class, and where do you see them potentially taking what you've taught and growing even further?
Most of my students been here for at least 4 years plus.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to see my students to carry the mantle.
Mm-hmm.
I could be able to pass it on. But in Bermuda, it's very hard because as they grow up, there is other things like college, university, and stuff like that. Then it's the boyfriend, girlfriend.
Yes, yes, yeah. Yes.
Yep. But this is one of my best groups of young folks that I had over the years. They do gel together. They work hard. I was very proud of their performance. They represented Bermuda at a high level. So, good job.
You've been involved in martial arts for a long time. I just use like that.
30-some years.
30 plus years.
Yes.
What has kept you abreast of keeping this sport going alive and passing this information on to the young ones as they come along?
Well, I love this sport. When I got into it, I originally started doing karate, but I ended up having to go to a kung fu cinema back in Barbados, and I saw them doing this fancy stuff with different instruments, and I liked that, so I decided to get into Chinese kung fu. My main thing is to pass the knowledge on, because martial art is not all about fighting. It's a discipline art.
For sure.
And it's also about keeping fit as well. So I just like to pass it on, and most of my joy comes from watching my students grow up or compete in tournaments and did what they just did in the last tournament. They just performed.
Yo, man, where do you see yourself in the next 5 to 10 years in this sport?
I think I'll be like the best. Not the best.
No, that's good. No, you want to be the best.
And I started doing kung fu because I didn't want no one to bully me, and my daddy signed me up. And I wanted to defend myself. And kung fu is a nice sport, and to defend yourself, you don't use it out when you're at school to bully people. If someone bullies you, you don't bully them with your kung fu. You go tell the teacher and stuff, and if they keep on bullying you and they irritate you, you still don't use your kung fu at the students.
How difficult is that? You're a young man.
People bully me a lot. That's very difficult.
Yeah? Is it because of your size?
Sometimes.
Yeah? Okay. Well, you got 2 medals? 2 medals. You got 2 medals as well, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Winning your 2 medals must be satisfying for you, knowing that you started out as support, got involved heavily, and now you come back with 2 medals.
Yep.
How does that work out?
Well, I don't know, because oddly enough, I'm a high school teacher.
Right.
So when I go back to school, my students are going to say, "Hey, so at the moment, right now, I'm still trying to take it in.
Right.
I already know my friends haven't seen me as yet.
Yes.
So when they do see me, it'll probably be cup match or whatever. They're going to all give me an earful. So I'm just trying to stay calm. I really am.
But expectations. What expectations did you have for yourself when you departed Bermuda?
My families are pretty much competitive people. So my expectations are really high. Initially, I wanted to do beginner sparring, but Sifu said, nah, just one step at a time. So I was like, all right, let me just do the forms and the weapons and see how I do.
Right.
So I actually, I was going in there with a mindset, I'm not gonna. If I don't come in the top 3, I'm gonna be frustrated. That was my mentality.
Right.
But I also have I also understand that there could be people out there better than me.
Right.
So I'm not a spoil sport, but I want to win.
Right.
So it just so happened.
Yeah. And then Milan, for you, you won 2 gold, right?
Yes.
Yes, I want to go.
Did you you say you only had 1 other competitor. But when you leave Bermuda, did you know you only had 1 other competitor?
No, I
didn't. So in your mind, what are you telling yourself? Because you do want to get, anybody going into any competition would tell you want to win. So how are you shaping your mind, leaving Bermuda, heading to competition?
basically, I was like, I just want to do my best. Like, if I don't place in the top 3, I'm going to be alright. But I want to do my best out there and, like, at least come top 3 or 5.
Right.
But I was surprised at myself.
Now, how soon do you want to get back into that international competition? Because once you taste success, a little bit of success or a little bit of experience, you want to jump right back. And for Seafood, you want to make sure you control that and taper that down, don't you?
Yep. So normally, we get back into the gym, we start training again.
You gotta pop over those balloons, though, right?
Yes, we let them enjoy, you know, their success,
Yeah.
and then we start again. Every tournament, I like to take it as a brand new tournament, and we are looking to get a better tournament each time. So there's a few tournaments out there, possibly the Worlds in Costa Rica next year, or there's the Pan American in Canada, I believe, that we're going to probably work towards.
Now, the age groups as well?
Yeah, they have different age groups and different weight categories, depends on what divisions they're going in.
How do you decide who's going to go and who's not going to go? Because you want to make sure that it's the right fit for the person that you're actually taking.
Well, normally they all know that I say that they earned a position.
Okay.
So they have to train hard and earn that position, and then we will select according to their position. Milan and most of these lots been doing very good on the local.
Right.
So they're basically
picking themselves.
Yeah, picking themselves up, right? And I like to have them compete against each other. Like in the previous tournament, we had Chloe Patello, who is not here.
Right.
She won 2 medals as well.
Yeah.
But I put her in Milan's division for 2 reasons. One, so she could get more experience.
Yeah.
At the same time, making sure that Milan don't get caught sleeping.
Yes,
And stuff like that.
Yeah.
And they work well together. So, yeah.
And how often, I mean, most people in different sports only work, well, females only work with females. And do you mix them up a bit so they can work on different forms, different techniques?
Well, when it comes to forms and techniques and stuff, they all work with male and female.
Right.
Because martial art is mainly about self-defense.
Yes.
So it's not going to be male. When I came up years ago, before they changed it, you know, like for sparring, male and female spar or did forms together.
Right.
Because it's not whether you're male or female, it's how good you are.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
But now they have changed it, so they have like female category
Right.
and
Right.
male categories and stuff like that.
Okay. Well, I do want to say thank you and congratulations on your first international competition, medaling. We look forward to your next challenge.
Yes.
Just getting them back in the gym and bringing them back down and
yes.
Yeah.
And get them to learn new stuff.
Before we go, but no one's ever satisfied with what they see. And obviously you saw some small things that need to be worked on. How soon do you talk to them about the things you saw?
Oh. As soon as they come off the floor, sometimes, right?
I know some people wait, but others, yeah.
Yeah, and once they get back in the gym, I address it a lot more.
Okay.
So some things, like I said, as an instructor, we see things that some don't see. You know, like if parents go across, oh, they done well, yeah, but he slipped his hand off the stick or he stumbled a little bit. I pick those things.
Okay, all right. Well, again, thank you very much for joining us. We'll be back after this message from our sponsors.
Thank you.
Well done, gentlemen.
Thank you very much.
Hey, Dave's number.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you very much, everybody.
Well done.
Thank you. Not a problem. Congratulations. Congratulations.
Cool.
Yes, ma'am. Cool. 261
261
0411.
0411.
Yeah.
Okay, it's coming up next year.
Yeah.
Okay.
So more premium goes towards generous benefits.
That's a pretty good interview. This is interesting.
He was hurting. The problem that's hurting Bermuda is just international competition.
Able to get it
Here
on a
or
regular
over there.
Due to cost.
And we're not far away, it's just so expensive.
Incorporating some of the biotechnology of yogurt, the friendly bacteria that aid digestion, and really delicious flavors. Bermuda's drinks are raw,
Hey, Dave.
dairy, nuts,
Power 95, putting you on standby.
for vegans.
All right.
Convenient organic probiotic and kombucha drinks in a host of diverse flavors. Lindo's, why wouldn't you sell?
What time is it? It's game time. More opportunities to win. All your sports betting needs without the road trip. Introducing Game Time East and Game Time West.
That was the thing at the show?
Oh, the fashion show thing?
Yeah. Monday to Friday, 12 to 6, Saturdays 8:30 till 5, and Sundays 10 till 5. For more details, visit GameTime.pm or call 296-3222. Game Time. You play, we pay. Game Time is a socially responsible gaming establishment.
Hi, I'm Bruce Barrett, Bruce the Beverage Man. Be sure to tune in at 8:20 every Wednesday morning right here on Power 95 for Welch's.
Okay, that's why.
I'll let you know where I am so that you can stop by and get a free Welch's juice at the Wednesday edition of the Royal Gazette. It's Welch's Wednesday. Every Wednesday right here on Power 95.
Now, back to Inside Sports Talk Radio. Inside Sports Talk Radio on Power 95 FM with host Ian Rollins and co-host Earl Baston. This segment of Health and Fitness is presented to you by Fit for Life with Dave Wolf.
And welcome back to Inside Sports Talk Radio. On the phone with us right now is Dave Wolf, the man that runs Fit for Life. Good afternoon to you, sir. How are you? All is well. I think Earl Basin said he saw you running earlier today. You out there running again, Dave?
I did. I didn't see Earl. He didn't offer me any refreshment.
You were getting right back to your place. You looked like you had done the work needed and you needed your refreshment. And what I could have offered you wasn't nowhere near what I knew you was going to get upstairs.
I appreciate it. Thank you. Yeah, I went for a little short run today. It was hot. Very, very humid. Very humid. I actually was deceivingly humid around about 10:30, but I made it back.
And I'm sure that short run was what, 5 or 6 miles?
Maybe 4, maybe close to 4. I didn't want to overdo it today. Just something simple, just to kind of stretch the legs. So I'm thankful, man. I'm just thankful I can still move. I can still, I'm just give thanks, man.
Well, on Saturday night, you probably done about 4 or 5 yourself.
You think so?
Yeah, I mean, I was tucked away in the corner, and I could see you in and out, making sure that things were running smoothly, and also ensuring that your athletes were doing or measuring out the way they had planned it.
It was a fun night. It was a good day, a good night. I'm very thankful to be a part of the Bodybuilding and Fitness Federation on the committee, and annual Night of Champions. Took a bit of work, but I think in the end we produced another good show based on what we heard. So I'm very fortunate to be a part of that group, that committee, man. It was funny because I was initially, Earl, and I'm not sure you guys realize this, but I actually was signed up for this year's show. I was gonna try to do triple duty, which was obviously coaching 2 people, 2 young ladies who did bikini, and then I was gonna continue to do my committee duties, so to speak, and then I was going to get up on stage. But I'm glad I decided not to get up on stage. That would have been less than ideal, I think. So it would have been too much.
I would say so.
Thought about a month ago that it would have either A, taken away from the young ladies who I was coaching, or B, taken away from my community duties. So I just followed on gracefully. So I don't regret doing it. I actually enjoyed what I did on Saturday. So.
Well, credit must be given to you and your committee. We talked about it earlier, Earl and I, and even Don Bassett, about the work that you guys put forth for the 31st annual Bermuda Bodybuilding and Fitness Federation Night of Champions. The numbers were done regarding competitors, and I think they had to do with the date. They had a lot to do with the date. The date was brought forth this year. I think you have 25 competitors this year, compared to 37 last year. But the good news is that you have 12 new competitors of the 25. So that means that you guys' mandate is on par, meaning that you're introducing to the sport to new people. You had an event in April of this year. Moving the event forward, yeah, that does hamper a bit, because some people who are veterans and even newcomers usually predict that the Night of Champions is usually after cup match, a week or 2 weeks after cup match. And so I think that's why the numbers were down. But by speaking with people in the audience, they said that they'll love to see it whenever it's going to be held. Obviously get the word out there from a sales and marketing perspective, and then the numbers will increase. But overall, people were pleased with the night. What I was impressed with, and some others, was that it started on time. And this being the second year running under this management team, it started at 7 o'clock on the dot. In the past, it's been 20 minutes, 30 minutes, and even 45 minutes late. And I think that's what took a lot of people by surprise again for the second year running, that you guys started on time. Credit must be given to you guys for that, because that's very important.
I appreciate it. I appreciate your commentary and your feedback and your insights from your perspective and knowledge. I think getting back to your first or earlier comment with respect to numbers being done, I think is a couple of variables, of reasons for it. Certainly the time being moved, but I think, and Nick Jones said on the previous show we had here with respect to just maybe the federation, I think what we need to do and what we probably haven't done, from my point of view, is done enough development, done enough like marketing, because really, in a sense, the show sells itself. One of the things I always say, if it's one athlete, each athlete sells 10 tickets because that person has a wife or a daughter or a cousin or colleague. So we kind of have relied on that. Basically, if Ian's in the show, Ian's going to sell 10 tickets by himself. So, but there needs to be more development, I think, overall, and then to what we've been discussing in the past week, even more sales and marketing, and a bit more creativity, shall we say, in terms of getting it out there earlier. For example, even something as simple as, we've just finished Night of Champions in 2018. We can put out the date for 2019 now, and we can say save the date. So that doesn't help. People can start, looking at that. We can put out April 2019 date out now, which we're going to discuss in our next meeting, and do some things to kind of keep Night of Champions on people's radar, so to speak. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which is always cool for a community or committee that has 2 events in the year. You want to highlight your April one, you want to highlight the Night of Champions, which is the big extravaganza. But it's that self-promotion, not just in the gyms, because you want to also attract those people outside the gyms as well, don't you?
Sir, another good point. Me personally, this is something that I actually, hold pretty hardly, or it's something close to my heart, which is how do we develop this sport? How do we develop the industry? Because really, we're talking about weekend warriors, light enthusiasts who are people who are either in the gym or working out on their own. How do you get those people interested in something like this? Getting up on stage, and I often say people get up on stage for a host of reasons. A bucket list item. I always wanted to do this, sir. This is so far away from my norm. I'm a shy person. Let me try something different. Maybe somebody had, excess weight and they dropped 35, 40 pounds. So all of these reasons you want to somehow embrace, encourage, and then get them people to be inspired to get up on stage. And I always look at myself, and I always use the same analogy. People have to have an opportunity to start, and then they can finish. So I sat in the audience 5 years ago in the front row at Ruth Seaton James, and I saw a couple guys do men's physique, and then I said, you know what, I'm going to train myself, and I'm going to do it the next year. And then it kind of continued from there, my interest, my desire, my passion. So people have to start to get along that process and finish. So another thing we need to probably do as a committee is, I think, is have a couple more things. So we have the signature Night of Champions. We have the April show, which is kind of on the calendar, but perhaps we do other things like a judges symposium or a presentation. Something else that we do throughout the year to again continue to keep the interest up, so that by the time we get to August and April, we've done a better job of keeping us relevant.
I think and that's a good point, Dave. Credit to you guys on that. I think one point would be good is that nutrition is important, and as you trainers, personal trainers, and club people talk about that nutrition is important. As the newcomers come on board, we don't look at it like that. The average person says, "Oh, it's about training," but it's really one cannot do without the other. And I think if you guys were able to help put a seminar on about nutrition, not just for the competition itself, but overall, and I think people have a better understanding of how important it is, how much of a role it plays.
That's a great segue into something that I personally am working on, which I can't say too much now because I currently am in I guess you'd say proposal stage, but you're right. I heard every day the frustrations, the challenges with, whether or not I'm not sure what I should be eating, how much I should be eating. I know I should be eating some protein, or how much protein should I be eating. I know I should be eating some healthy fats, or like what are healthy fats, where I get them from. I should be eating a level of fiber and carbohydrates. How much carbohydrates? Are all carbohydrates the same? I think there's a lot of, for lack of a better word, ignorance or misunderstanding about the macronutrients, how they work in our body, what they do to us, and how to, how to utilize them best. And then even if you had the information, let's say you had the information, because now we're in the information age, you got social media, you got, you can look up things, then you still have to go out and buy this stuff. You got to bring it home, you got to prep it. So that's really where I find the #1 challenge for the average person, for the athlete, for the competitor, is that nutrition. How do I get it? Where do I get it from? How can I, how can I make it? Like, what's the easy route? And there's no real easy answer. But I'm working on something that might hopefully address some of those things, and I'll be able to speak at that a bit more in the next few weeks.
That's good. That's real good, actually, Dave. That's real good because, as you know, that's what the athlete goes through and experiences. What Earl and I experienced just over the last 2 weeks when we had people in the studio was that, from the athletic part, is that what I find, and both of us find, is that athletes now are going to chefs and getting their meals prepared for them because it's time consuming. You could be in the kitchen on a Sunday morning starting at 7, and you wouldn't get out till about 11:30, 12 o'clock. And that's prepping your meals from the Sunday, or even the Monday, Sunday to Monday to the 7 days. Or you want to go, like, say, Sunday to Wednesday. But then by the time you come on Wednesday, you want to prep meals again to Saturday. It's time consuming. So what athletes are doing is obviously hiring a chef and putting things in place. So that takes a big load off, but it's, again, you need to know the right macros, right? And
it's not an easy fix. It's a big problem. And I think somebody once said something that it was 80-20 rule. So 20% is exercise, and 80% of nutrition. It's probably higher. It's probably 90%. It's probably 90% of what you eat, and that's across the board. Because I think the other thing is that people look at, and I think we've mentioned before on the same show about nutrition or food intake is not just for aesthetic. It's not just for making a person either lose weight or gain weight or look better. It's also for making you feel better and supplying your body with enough of the important stuff it needs. So it really is everything, and it's not an easy fix. It's not an easy fix. You're absolutely right.
Dave, back to the Night of Champions. When can we find out from the committee who's been selected for the Caribbean Championships?
Good question. We're actually having a meeting tonight. I can say that. We're having a meeting tonight with the committee members and a few individuals to select a team to go to Mexico City. We have to move quick because the Caribbean Amateur Championships are going to take place the weekend of July 27 in Mexico City. So that'll happen tonight. I think once we have all the logistics done tonight, the athletes who are selected will be informed, and they'll have to either accept the invite or decline. And then once we have that sorted, I would imagine by midweek, towards the end of the week, Mr. President will make some type of announcement about the team, and then we'll be on our way to Mexico City.
Now, how challenging is that? Because you got yourself up for a competition Saturday night, and then there's an international competition in 2 weeks' time. How does one maintain that body posture? How does one maintain that level of fitness in order to compete at that level?
Yeah, good question. That's a good question, because what you're trying to do, you're trying to peak, as you call it, trying to peak at the right time. So you can, like the old saying, you can't just lighten the bottle twice.
Right.
So it is hard. I mean, but it depends on how you look at it. Some might say it might be easier to maintain for 2.5 weeks versus maintaining for 8 weeks or 6 weeks, which is traditionally what we've had to do, which is, might be either hard. The other argument might be if somebody needed more time, then 6 weeks might give them more time to refine and get a bit tighter and maybe work on some body parts, where in 2.5 weeks you're not really going to, in my opinion, make significant difference. All you can do is take what you have and really just kind of sharpen it. So it's not easy, but the opposite is also not easy. So it's one of those things where, if they say there's the cards we've been dealt, we have to just try to make the best of it. So less than ideal, as I say, but I think people can probably embrace it and stay pretty close.
What feedback did you guys get from the 2 international judges with regards to the competition?
Actually, there's only one international judge that came out for this show. Well, actually, one is a local judge who has international credentials. But what I've heard, matter of fact, he sent a brief email to the executive and very complimentary on the show, on the quality of athletes. and encourage us to continue on. Some of the feedback that I've heard thus far from some of the attendees and the patrons was that well received, a good show. A lot of the athletes love it. I think the venue played a big part, you know, in past years. It's been at Route St. James. The Fairmont Southampton does a really good job of accommodating the committee. Last year, you remember, we had it in the amphitheater, which was a complete different, I guess, optic layout versus the Ponciana room, which is a lot more appealing. They built a stage for us. We got lights installed. You know, it was really first class treatment all around. So I think what I've heard is nothing but good feedback so far.
Well done. Okay. Just before we wrap up, Dave, I'm just looking at the calendar here. If the event is going to be held in August, as you know, when the annual event that is, Cup match is August 1st and 2nd. And I was speaking with the president earlier this morning. I told him that the Eastern Counties is always 2 weeks before Cup match, 2 weeks after Cup match, and then 2 weeks after that.
What day is that?
That's
it could be keep these in consideration. You want to avoid that at all costs.
Sure. So Cup match is August 1st and 2nd of next year, 2019. So then you could either have it.
August 17th will be the
next round.
Next round.
So then it will be the 10th that you can have it, August 10th.
That's good information. Hello to the press. I'll make a note of that date. We actually have a post-mortem meeting next week, so I'll make sure that we keep August 10th as a good item,
10th or the 24th,
good option, and then hopefully get that date out in the next few weeks and months so that people can kind of keep that locked off. That's perfect. Thank you, sir.
Sure. I think my colleague said the 10th or the 24th. I guess that the 24th depends on the CAC, right?
Right. Correct. But that's good information because I think in the past we've had a couple of things on around the Eastern Counties, and we've definitely seen some lack of attendees from that. So we want to try to avoid that if we can. And other big events, you know, just it makes it less than ideal for us.
Okay. Yeah, we were happy too. From the media's perspective, we were very pleased. And let me give credit to where it was at. They took out a page basically and took great photos and put it out there in the sports section, which Earl Basin's been doing for a number of years. The Radio Broadcast Company's been doing for a number of years, saying it's a sport. So I give credit to where it was at for recognizing it as a sport. The reporter was their editor. Not editor. Is he sports editor or is he deputy editor?
You're talking about Stephen Wright?
Yeah, Stephen Wright. Is he deputy or
assistant editor? Assistant sports, yeah.
Okay, well, credit to you, Stephen Wright. I saw you there on Saturday night, so kudos to you.
Well, thank you again. Thank you, Earl. Appreciate it.
Not a problem. Brother. I'll see you Wednesday morning. More pain, more gain.
That's right, brother. Stay ready.
Always. We'll be back after this.
Stock Radio has been presented to you by Windows Group of Companies, Colonial Group International, Global Atlantic Financial Group, Game Time, and Fit for Life with Dave Wolf. We'll return after the break.
The importance of fruit juice cannot be overestimated. For its health benefits, convenience, and sheer deliciousness. Ask anyone raising children. Lakewood Juice Company, a family business, has been bottling their diverse line of pure organic and premium juices since 1975. Lakewood fresh pressed juices are a delicious natural source of antioxidants, dietary fiber, vitamins and minerals, and with no additives or artificial ingredients. Why any place else?
What time is it? It's game time. More opportunities to win. All your sports betting needs without the road trip. Introducing Game Time East and Game Time West. Located next to Wampus and St. George's and Main Road Somerset by Somerset Cricket Club. All Game Time outlets open Monday to Friday 12 to 6, Saturdays 8:30 till 5, and Sundays 10 till 5. For more details, visit GameTime.pm or 296-3222. Game Time. You play, we pay. Game Time is a socially responsible gaming establishment.
Premier Health is a smart health insurance plan that does most of the thinking for you.
So you're not here next week, Monday.
U.S. network providers, 24/7 worldwide support,
and more local providers who are registered online.
96% of claims are settled in 5 days, often without paperwork. Less paperwork cuts errors, delays, and costs.
So more of your premium goes towards generous benefits.
Premier Health.
We can set up.
Call on 296-3200
or visit cgigroup.com.
Hi,
Hi,
Great.
this is Pat Trott. We invite you to join me Tuesday mornings on Power 95 at 8:15 for the Travel Edge Weekly Travel Talk Show.
3 weeks.
The same experienced team of travel professionals, same fun
But it's long, yeah, it's a lot of work. It's long, it's a lot of work.
35 Church Street, Hamilton. We look forward to being of service to you as you live
You
your
want to talk about
travel
it?
dreams.
Okay, let's do it.
Now, back to Inside Sports Talk Radio. Inside Sports Talk Radio with Power 95 FM with host Ian Rollins and co-host Earl Beeston.
Whoa, time has passed. 2:13 already. We just want to pass on some other valuable information. Just for we want to thank our guests for coming in and sharing the information with us. The Minneapolis Association, the Kung Fu Association, and the Archery Association. Thank you all for coming in and sharing the good information on Inside Sports Talk Radio, and of course Dave Wolf having us on, joining us today, talking about the Night of Champions, the 31st annual Bermuda Bodybuilding Fitness Federation Night of Champions 2018. Earl, you're not gonna be with us next week Monday. You're gonna be flying. You're gonna be flying around the world.
I wouldn't say around the world.
Halfway around the world.
Colombia's not that far.
Not that far?
No.
Hey, you might see Falco around there. Falcala.
Probably see a lot of those fellas walking the streets.
Falcao and what's the one that used to play back in the 90s? He was in the stands. Hit the big afro. Valderrama.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Tell me said hello, man.
Hey, if they make themselves available, sure I will.
So you're going on behalf of the Bermuda Olympic Association, covering which event is this?
CAC Games.
CAC Games. You're down there for 3 weeks?
Something like that. Don't remind me, man.
Don't remind you.
But you know what? It's one of those things that I don't mind because we're going to get to see, we have 24 athletes.
Good.
In 9 different sports competing over a 19-day period. So we get the opportunity to see our athletes in a different environment, and that's what we were talking to these athletes that were in studio with us earlier. How do you perform in different environments? How do you adjust? How do you prepare? Basically, you're going to the unknown. You look at the bowlers; they're unsure of what the surface will be like.
Right.
You know, will it be oily enough, or will they adjust?
Right.
Kaiwan Miners is going down for equestrian. Does this horse fly good? You know, all these things, logistic things, come into play when working out whether or not you go, you don't go, the challenges of what you're going to encounter while you're there. You know, so
and that's a good point you brought up, because the average person doesn't know what goes on behind the scenes.
Yeah.
We think as what's the word I'm looking for? As listeners or viewers, that when the athlete is participating, there's done in 2 or 3 days, they went down there and got prepared. Heck no. Just as you explained what the horses.
Same thing with track and field. How is the track spongy? Is the track hard? Is it, what type of surface is it? Even the runway for the long jump, triple jump.
Right.
What type of surface is it? Because now the athlete has to adjust. If you're used to a soft, cushiony, strip, but you get there and it's this rock hard thing.
They got the wrong shoes on.
Well, yeah. So you have to,
good point.
It's a lot of things that go on behind, and that's why you have the chef and the assistant chef. They go early, they find out what's going on, so they bring that message back. But then it's up to the athlete and the coaches to make sure that they're prepared. Once they arrive, they go visit the facilities. They try to scout out what needs to be done in preparation, and it's some will even use the sport of squash. In Bermuda, the squash courts are hot. In Scotland, you use them in a refrigerator almost. So how does the player adjust to those type of things? No, you're not going to sweat as much, but you're used to sweating. You're used to having to wipe your hand for your grip, and you get used to a routine. Now that routine isn't there anymore, do you mess up your rhythm? All those small things, and believe it or not, as an amateur athlete, you get into certain things and habits of what you do, and we have to remember that most of the people that will be representing us at the CAC Games, and for those matter, any one of the 4 festivals, are part-time athletes, in the true sense of those things.
That's true. And you said 24 athletes, correct?
24. Yeah.
I'm just looking up real quickly. So, Bogota, Colombia.
Yeah, Baccarali or something like that.
Okay. They're 2 hours behind.
2 hours, yeah.
So you guys fly out Sunday or Monday?
Monday morning.
Monday morning.
Yeah, we get there, I think 10 o'clock Bermuda time.
At night?
At night, yeah.
So you're going first thing Monday morning?
Yeah. We wait in Miami.
American Airlines flight to Miami.
Yeah, wait most of the day, and then It's a 3.5 hour flight from Miami to.
So the layover in Miami is about 8 hours.
I think we leave at like 5 something.
That's about 8
So
hours.
yeah, from 10 to 6 hours.
6 hours.
And then of course we arrive there, I believe, at 8:40, 7:40. So yeah, I mean 9:40 in Bermuda. So
yeah,
long day.
It's a long day. Okay.
Got to get up in the morning, go get your credentials, go scout the areas, find out how long it takes you to get from the village to particular places, and because all that has to be timed out, and you know, so if we have athletes participating within a time frame, how do you get from one stadium to the next stadium? Because this is not Bermuda.
No,
it's not where you can nip across the street
20
or
minutes.
I mean,
or go by yourself.
Yeah, I mean, if you look
Columbia,
at when I was in Toronto for the Pan Am Games, the equestrian was 2 hours away.
Outside of Toronto?
Yeah. So you know, in Veracruz, Mexico, track and field was 2 hours away. So it's not like you're just gonna let me just get in the car. It's not like that. It's and then you have different stadiums. You have swimming that is 10 miles away from the village, and then you have another sport 5 miles away. But the way the transportation works, if you don't have the right credentials, you have to go back to the village, get the other bus that takes you out to the next sport. So you know, they don't have it. We're situated in one big area. I mean, Brazil had swimming, track, a lot of stuff in one area, but then you had to go outside of other places to go to do other things. So you know,
I would like to be the organizer for that, man.
Well, I mean, they organize it pretty good. The problem is when we have athletes doing events at the exact same time, which makes it very difficult.
Very challenging.
Very difficult. I mean, you're going to have sailing. You know, we're going to be represented by, as I said, it's athletics. You have bowling. We have boxing, equestrian, squash, cycling, sailing, swimming, triathlon. So you know, we have a whole host of things going on, and that's going to be all over the place in Colombia. So. For those that think, oh, Earl's going on vacation, I don't think so. No.
Bring back the T-shirt.
I'll get it as a Ron Crossy shop.
That's not the case.
But I look forward to bringing back information on a daily, nightly, morning basis on how our athletes are making out.
That's good news.
And you know, we'll just keep plugging along.
All right, good.
Yeah,
cool, good stuff. Well, that's all the time we have for today on Inside Sports Talk Radio. We'll be back here next week, sailing the ship by ourselves, sort of. But I'm sure we'll be here updates with Mr. Biz on next week, Monday.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us, folks. See you next week. Take care.
Sports Talk Radio.